Tonight on Nightline, hate in 2008, an alleged plot by a pair of skinhead racists to assassinate Barack Obama in a murderous spree is foiled. How are white supremacists preparing for the possibility of a black president? We ask a new leader of the white power movement. And car trouble. The Dow Jones stages a huge rally, but don't let one day fool you. This economic crisis continues to claim casualties, and hundreds of auto dealers are caught in the crosshairs. Plus, cruise control. 1 week to the election, and Barack Obama still has the advantage. But is an aggressive John McCain creeping back into the race? George Stephanopoulos is back with the Nightline Report Card.
From the global resources of ABC News with Terry Moran, Martin Bashir, and Cynthia McFadden in New York City, this is Nightline, October 28, 2008.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Terry Moran, and we begin tonight with the alleged plot to assassinate Barack Obama, a gruesome, harebrained scheme that federal authorities say they busted up yesterday. With 1 week to go in the campaign now, and the country perhaps on the verge of electing a black man to be the president of the United States, there is no doubt that Obama's candidacy, win or lose, marks real progress on the tragic issue of race in America. But this alleged plot by a pair of racist skinheads to kill Obama in a hate-filled rampage, it revealed an ugly truth. The doctrine of white supremacy is still alive in this country, and the racists among us, they're in a panic, as our chief investigative correspondent Brian Ross reports in a Nightline exclusive.
The prospect of a black president has America's bastions of hate in an uproar.
White power! White power!
Leaders, including the wizard of the Imperial Clan of America, Ron Edwards, have long warned the white race is under attack and must be defended.
We can be very violent, and we can be very deceptive, and we will do whatever we have to do to survive.
Federal authorities say online websites have featured ugly calls to target Senator Barack Obama. And twice now since August, 2 sets of self-proclaimed neo-Nazi skinheads have been caught in what officials say were feeble but still troubling plots to assassinate Obama.
If Obama's elected president, these people see the world as they've known it to end, and the beginning of what they believe will be a kind of marginalized, mixed-up country that's not controlled by white people.
In the most recent case, federal agents say these 2 men, Daniel Cowart and Paul Schleselman, plan to go on a killing spree against more than 100 African Americans. And then, they told the Secret Service, go out in a blaze of glory, dress in white tuxedos and top hats during the assassination attempt against Obama.
These 2 young men are really steeped in ignorance. I can feel sorry for them in some respects. But I also know that they're deadly dangerous.
Cowart told the Secret Service that he and Schleselman met using the website of a new hate group, the Supreme White Alliance, a next generation of neo-Nazis and skinheads.
We're being discriminated against just because we believe in, white rights.
Stephen Edwards of Muhlenberg County, Kentucky, is considered the top man at the Supreme White Alliance.
On my hand, that says hate.
Edwards' father is the Imperial Wizard of the Klan, and he is following in his father's footsteps, as his many body tattoos attest.
That is a German SS soldier. In the background, you have the Nazi battle flag, or the National Socialist battle flag.
The assassination plot alarmed Edwards, who today sought to portray his group as a social club with no ties to the 2 men under arrest.
We are a club, so we get together and socialize. It's more of a social type of thing with people, for people of the same views.
Call this a social club?
Pretty much.
Is it a hate club?
Do we hate? No, we don't hate. We hate certain things that goes on in the world.
But Edwards sings a different tune, one of extreme hate, when he is with his followers. He is a kind of rock star on the hate circuit for his song No Mercy, performed at what are called Nordic fests, including this one 3 years ago. It is Woodstock for the neo-Nazi skinhead set.
I didn't write that song, but that's pretty
You
much
sang
a
that
joke.
song?
Yes, I did.
And when you sang that song, what were you thinking?
It was pretty much people like us, we like to joke, and that's pretty much a joke.
You said no mercy for Jews,
Sure did.
and you said no mercy for
Hey, cut it.
what?
I'm not gonna sit here and have this happen
Why is that?
because I'm here. The reason I'm here is to denounce any involvement with this crap that they got going on.
Come
from the
on, come
SPLC.
on, come on
If you
back.
could talk to me like a person,
Well,
not-
I'm talking about, I want to understand. I want to
don't lead
understand
me
you.
into that.
Edwards says the man arrested in the Obama death plot, Daniel Cowart, was never a full member of the Supreme White Alliance, the SWA. But this is a picture of Cowart at an SWA party this April to honor the birthday of Adolf Hitler.
They have what they call a public front to tell you that, hey, we're not violent, we don't promote violence, we're just interested in getting our views across, representing white people's interests, free speech. But they have a private side that's represented by the Dan Cowarts and his associate in this case, that these groups would certainly never admit.
I'm leaving.
Edwards stormed off at least 4 times during our interview. I don't understand why you wouldn't
Don't
answer that
speak with me
question.
anymore, sir.
Why wouldn't you answer that question? Growing upset at
I told you I'm not
questions
answering
about his
questions
club's
that you ask. You
views
keep
on
asking
race.
off-the-wall questions that have nothing to do with
Off-the-wall
this.
questions? So the races you feel should remain pure.
Yes, I believe that. I believe that God created us all a certain way for a certain reason.
That's what Hitler believed.
I'm not Hitler.
Do you celebrate his birthday?
I have never celebrated his birthday, but I think that Adolf Hitler was a decent, he had a decent mind on him, but I mean, I don't agree with all of his ways.
Edwards says Obama, for his race, is a smart man, and that he is opposed to any effort to kill him. What would you say to somebody in the club who would say, let's go kill Senator Obama?
I would kick him out right away.
Would you call the police?
Stop on that question.
No, would you call the police if somebody said, I want to go kill Senator Obama? Would you turn them in?
I'm leaving.
Nobody wants to speak the unspeakable or think the unthinkable. We're all conscious of it. In the African-American community, there are a lot of people who go to bed every night saying a prayer for the safety of Senator Obama and his family. He's living in the crosshairs. I pray that God protects him and the Secret Service too.
Like his father, the Klan wizard before him, Edwards represents yet another generation of Americans who find comfort in hate. It is a fringe group, but one that will be even more closely watched if the country elects a mixed-race black man who represents all that they fear. For Nightline, this is Brian Ross, ABC News, in Muhlenberg County, Kentucky.
Fear and ignorance and hate in 2008. Thanks to Brian Ross and his producers for that report. You can see more National Geographic reporting on hate groups in America by visiting their website. And when we come back, we'll turn the page. How the Dow Jones soared today, 4 a day.
I have COPD, which makes it hard to breathe. But now that I'm breathing better with Advair,
I can spend a day with my favorite little camper.
For people with COPD, including chronic bronchitis, emphysema, or both, great news. Advair helps significantly improve lung function. While nothing can reverse COPD, Advair is different from other medications because it's the only product with an anti-inflammatory and a long-acting bronchodilator working together to help you breathe better. Advair won't replace fast-acting inhalers for sudden symptoms and should not be used more than twice a day. People with COPD taking Advair may have a higher chance of pneumonia. Advair may increase your risk of osteoporosis and some eye problems. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition or high blood pressure before taking Advair.
I love coming here, Grandma.
Me too.
ask your doctor how Advair helps improve lung function for better breathing.
Find out how to get your first full prescription free at advaircopd.com.
The Hyundai Santa Fe has impressive features, like room for 7, available all-wheel drive, and America's best warranty. But the most impressive feature of all, 24 miles per gallon. After all, what good is a crossover utility vehicle if you can't afford to drive it.
Get 0% financing for up to 36 months and up to $3,000 bonus cash on a 2008 Hyundai Santa Fe.
Tonight on Jimmy, Pushing Daisy's Kristen Chenoweth plays Hard to Get.
Hi, Uncle Fred.
That's him, all right.
Get away from my bed.
Plus, the latest celebrity voted off Dancing with the Stars. Emmy Award-winning Jimmy Kimmel Live. All new, coming up on ABC.
Barack Obama, Charlie Gibson. Don't miss it tomorrow on ABC's World News.
Delicious peas from Smith Frozen Foods. Gordon Smith Frozen Foods, where newspapers report there's ample evidence to suggest hiring illegal workers is a regular fact of life. Now Gordon Smith claims he wants to crack down on companies that hire illegal immigrants. But that's hard to believe, because if you do that, who will package your peas then, Senator? Gordon Smith. What a hypocrite. The Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Let's turn now to the economy. And for one day, good news. The bargain hunters were out on Wall Street today, and the Dow soared, closing nearly 900 points up in the second biggest single-day point jump ever. But don't let one bright spot in this dark October fool you. No, the painful reality is sinking in for many industries, as Sharon Alfonsi reports on the death of a salesman.
Hello. I'd like to show you something I'm very proud of.
It's the Mobley, it's the Mavic, it's the Zorro.
The American auto industry has come a long way.
All new Flex from Ford. Drive one.
And Joe Pfeffer has seen it all.
I started by selling DeSoto Plymouth. I got the dealership in 1942. First year, I got 36 cars. 2 Plymouths and 1 DeSoto per month.
From his showroom in Belleville, New Jersey, he has survived through thick and thin.
I have lived through many crises. I lived through the Vietnamese War. I lived through the gasoline shortages of the 70s. I survived the stock market crashes in the late 90s and the early 2000s. So that just never even occurred to me that I was set up for this kind of a thing. It was a total, complete, utter, debilitating shock.
The shock? After more than 60 years, the bank told Joe they could no longer loan money to his dealership, and Joe couldn't secure another line of credit anywhere, at any rate.
None of the banks were interested in loaning out any money whatsoever. It wasn't a matter of interest. It wasn't a matter of charges. The money was just not available.
Car dealerships rely on loans to buy cars from the factory and cover everything from parts to payroll. Once the car sells, the dealer repays the loan. But if they can't get money, they can't buy cars or meet payroll.
We are a perfect example of what happens when the flow of money stops, when the credit is cut off, when you can't borrow money on established lines that have been 66 years in the making. All of a sudden, it's all cut off. All of a sudden, finished.
So Joe is now finished too, getting ready after 6 decades to close his doors for good.
We had 26 employees just in the parts department.
Today, a skeleton crew is shipping the remaining inventory back to Chrysler.
It's really an eerie silence. It's more than weird, it's heartbreaking. It's a debilitating experience. I would really wish it on my worst enemy.
But it is happening at car dealerships across the country. In the last year, nearly 600 new car dealerships have shut their doors, and another 2,000 are expected to close over 18 months. 70,000 employees are expected to lose their jobs. Joe had 87 men and women working for him.
How much did the employees who worked here mean to you?
I have cried over a half a dozen of them. I've awakened in the middle of the night, my mind spinning. What is going to happen to these specific employees? What are they going to do?
Michael Minto worked in the parts department. At 50 years old, he's considering learning another trade.
I mean, it's like 17 years of my life down the drain, you know? It's just hard.
Hard on employees and owners, but hard on customers too. The number of people late on their monthly car or truck payment is at an all-time high. Nearly $25 billion worth of loans are delinquent.
You just couldn't keep up with it. Banks calling, have you seen this customer? Do you know where we can find them? These aren't good times.
Fearing more losses, credit companies have made getting a loan or even a lease harder than ever.
You could qualify for a loan with a credit score of about 600, 650. They now have raised it to about 700, so that you have a double-barreled whammy here.
James Appleton is the president of the New Jersey Coalition of Automotive Retailers. He says dealers are looking for creative ways to get buyers into new cars.
And they work hard to make sure that even the most credit-challenged customer is able to get into a new car or truck.
What about people who say that's the whole problem? This is how this started to begin with, people buying things they couldn't really afford.
Look, cars are not like homes. You could make the argument that somebody, a family of four, doesn't need a 6,500 square foot house that costs $2 million. People need transportation. It's not a luxury. People driving cars is not a luxury. They need cars to get to and from their jobs.
But do they need a fancy car?
Well, it's the fancy cars aren't the ones that are having trouble getting financing right now. The carpenter who needs a pickup truck, the soccer mom who needs a 7-seat SUV to get the kids to and from school and their dance classes. These are the cars that we're finding difficult to get financed sometimes.
Banks aren't anxious to lend money, and many consumers aren't anxious to buy another car anyway.
And how hard is it just to sell the regular old SUV right now?
Very difficult.
Jim Rusomano owns a Chevrolet and Buick dealership just a few miles down the road from Joe's.
And how have gas prices affected you?
A lot, because we're standing in the middle of all our SUVs, and the Chevy Suburban was extremely hot. The Tahoe is even hotter than that. And as the gas prices started to climb to $4 per gallon, we saw that market pretty much come to a stop. And leasing was a big part of that too, so it's really been the perfect storm. Well, that's the customer's part.
Jim bought his dealership just 3 years ago, but he's been in the business for 20 years. And even now, with gas prices dropping, it is painfully slow.
Today, I'd like to tell you that we would have seen 5 or 6 or 7 people on the lot. This is the third customer we have, so we just, again, have to just be smart and work harder at what we should be doing all the time, every day anyway.
Auto sales across the country plunged in the last year, dropping below the 1 million mark this September for the first time in 15 years.
I don't sleep anymore. I have a family, I have 4 children. I wake up in the middle of the night thinking of ideas on what we can be doing differently.
One of those ideas, focusing his business on the body shop and used car sales. In this economy, people are holding on to their cars longer, and if they are buying, they're buying used. Every day, he's looking for new ways to ride out the recession.
Because I have no choice. I'm in. I bought this dealership. I have to run this dealership. I have 32 employees and their families that I hope we can put food on the table for them. I have a family at home, so I'm not giving up.
But down the street, the fight is over. After more than 60 years, Joe is locking up for the final time.
What's going to happen when you drive by here now? Can you look at it?
I don't think I could bear to drive by. I mean, you're saying it will bring tears to my eyes, just contemplating it.
The end of the road for an era. For Nightline, Sharon Alfonsi, Belleville, New Jersey.
Tough times. The credit crunch hits home in the real world. Our thanks to Sharon Alfonsi for that, and we'll be right back.
Look at this. I'm a free man. I go anywhere I want now and trade. E-Trade Mobile Pro. Right on my BlackBerry. Wait, hang on. Get an email. Oh, what a bad girl. Man. Anyway, I can get streaming quotes on it. God, relentless. Hang on a sec. Hey, girl, can I hit you back?
New E-Trade Mobile Pro. Trade stocks, get streaming quotes anytime, anywhere. There are 1,000 new accounts a day at E-Trade.
Approximately 2 out of 3 people being treated for depression still have depression symptoms. Talk to your doctor. If your antidepressant alone isn't enough, one option your doctor may consider is adding Abilify. Only Abilify is FDA approved to treat depression in adults when added to an antidepressant. Learn more about Abilify Call your doctor if your depression worsens or you have unusual changes in mood, behavior, or thoughts of suicide. Antidepressants can increase these in children, teens, and young adults. Elderly dementia patients taking Abilify have an increased risk of death or stroke. Call your doctor if you have high fever, stiff muscles, and confusion on Abilify, as these may be signs of a life-threatening reaction, or uncontrollable muscle movements, as these could become permanent. High blood sugar has been reported with Abilify and medicines like it. In some cases, extreme high blood sugar can lead to coma or death. Other risks include dizziness upon standing, seizures, impaired judgment or motor skills, or trouble swallowing. Talk to your doctor about the risks and benefits of adding Abilify if an antidepressant alone isn't enough.
Tomorrow, with the vote just days away, GMA's great political team is out there across the country for you. And with the election exclusives. Thursday, Sarah Palin and Bill Clinton. Friday, John McCain. In the election's final hours, turn to Good Morning America.
Steel, auto, airlines. What do these industries all have in common? Hundreds of thousands of lost jobs and union bosses who helped to put them out of business. If you think the economy's bad now, it could get worse. Union bosses are pushing their own bailout bill in Congress that could force employees to pay union dues against their will. Economists say it will cost jobs and damage the economy. Fight the Employee Forced Choice Act at employeefreedom.org.
I'm Gordon Smith, and I approve this ad.
Jeff Merkley's desperate attacks, sleaziness, says Reinhardt of the Oregonian. His claims, laughable, says the Register Guard. Not true, says the Oregonian. Jeff Merkley, false attacks, desperate campaign.
Dave Brownlow, too liberal, wants President Bush tried for war crimes and favors abolishing prisons. Dave Brownlow, just too liberal.
In tough times like these, do we want to give more power to Wall Street and big corporations? Measure 64 would do just that. Bill Sizemore put a loophole in 64 that would increase the power of lobbyists and corporate special interests while hurting the people we trust and depend on the most. Measure 64 would silence the voices of our nurses, firefighters, and teachers, but let Wall Street banks and lobbyists off the hook. Say no to Bill Sizemore's deceptive corporate loophole. Vote no on Measure 64.
Nightline continues from New York City with Terry Moran.
1 week to go now until Election Day, and while the latest ABC News tracking poll shows Barack Obama still has that 7-point overall advantage among likely voters, John McCain has made some strides on the economy and in his ability to handle a crisis for voters. But is he running out of time? Our chief Washington correspondent George Stephanopoulos is back tonight for the Nightline report card. And George, there's a big event tomorrow in this campaign. Barack Obama has purchased a solid half hour of television time on several networks, not this one, to directly address the American people. And so the question for the report card is essentially, what can Barack Obama tell us in a half an hour tomorrow night that we don't already know?
Unclear exactly. I think he'll be repeating a lot of things he said before. But let's begin by going back to the videotape of the last presidential candidate who had the kind of money to run a half hour like this.
Let's raise the hood and go to work. Let's diagnose the problem. I can tell you before we look at the engine, an engine tune-up won't fix it.
Now, I don't think you're going to see Barack Obama sitting behind a desk for a half hour. This is going to be more of a television show, not a speech. But like Ross Perot, it's going to focus on the agenda, not so heavy on the biography. It's another way of answering your question. I think you'll see Barack Obama at the top. I think you'll see him at the bottom talking about his agenda. But the rest, you might see other people, maybe a Warren Buffett, Colin Powell, other people that the Obama campaign calls validators to give testimony to Barack Obama. The McCain campaign thinks this half hour might be a reprise of the Berlin speech, maybe going a little too far, a little presumptuous, but one Obama aide told me you're going to get a lively half hour of television, only half tongue-in-cheek.
In politics, after all, directly addressing the voters is kind of what you want to do. Let me ask you about, in every one of these polls, George, obviously you see the undecideds there. Here we are in the final days, and there are still several percentage of the population undecided. So the question is, basically, who are these people who haven't made up their minds yet, and what kind of impact could they have?
These voters are pretty checked out, Terry. On the whole, they are less partisan, more independent and moderate. than the rest of the electorate. They're paying far less attention to the race. Our poll, our ABC poll, shows only about 2% of the electorate who are truly undecided, and that 2% is probably not going to vote. But we have another group of about 10% of voters we call movable voters who've made a decision but could change their mind. And this is the group that John McCain is really hoping to focus on. I talked to one McCain aide tonight, and their profile of their ideal undecided voter right now is older white women who are stressed economically. That pulls them towards Barack Obama, but they are pulled towards John McCain and the Republicans on social and cultural issues, and they like his story. The McCain campaign also believes that if you've held back from Barack Obama this long, you're not likely to go for him.
Do you think they're going to break big one way or the other?
Hard to know. But John McCain actually has to reach in to more than undecided voters at this point. He really has to move and change some minds in these last 5 days. As you reported, the McCain campaign does see some tightening in the polls. Our poll shows some movement on the economy, but he still has a ways to go with just a little under a week left.
All right, we'll watch the undecideds as they make up their minds. Thanks to George Stephanopoulos for tonight's version of the report card. And you can offer your own response to these critical campaign issues by clicking on the Nightline page at abcnews.com. And when we come back, it's time for our closing argument.
ABC News Nightline, brought to you by Sprint.
It's no secret, mobile phones keep getting smarter, but it's network speed that makes the real difference. I'm Dan Hesse, CEO of Sprint. Our network is engineered for today and for tomorrow. Today, more businesses rely on Sprint than on any other carrier. As for tomorrow, how does the first 4G network sound?
Health food doesn't have to be boring. You just have to pick the right flavors. There's vanilla, ginger, nutmeg, there's cinnamon. My job at Kashi is to take the best natural flavors and put them together in tasty ways. With all the choices found in nature, boring is pretty much impossible.
Kashi, 7 whole grains on a mission.
It's country music's
biggest night.
One event brings the whole country together.
Hosted by Brad Paisley
And Carrie Underwood.
The CMA Awards.
Live. Wednesday, November 12th at 8/7 Central on ABC.
After all the negative ads from Jeff Merkley, where's the truth? The Bend Bulletin and Mail Tribune call Gordon Smith moderate. He's a moderate who opposes the war, supports gay rights, stem cell research, and green energy. And Gordon Smith is a moderate who has shown the independence to represent Oregon. Before you believe Merkley's ads, listen to those who know the truth.
I'm Gordon Smith, and I approve this ad.
I've been sent into harm's way before because of unpermitted work. The fact is that building permits and the accompanying safety inspections protect the lives of your family, neighbors, and firefighters. Measure 63 is poorly written and would take away these essential safety measures. Measure 63 would even allow dangerous unpermitted work on electrical wiring, structural supports, and gas lines. For a safe home and peace of mind, vote no on Measure 63.
Election Day will mark the 2,846th day that George Bush has been president. And for those 2,846 days, Gordon Smith has been there for George Bush. Going to war, tax breaks to the wealthiest 1%, trying to privatize Social Security, running up a $10 trillion debt. After 2,846 days together, it's time to replace Gordon Smith, too. The Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee is responsible for the content of this ad.
The last time Oregon families faced difficult economic times, Jeff Merkley had a solution: higher taxes. Merkley voted for the largest tax increase in Oregon history. He actually voted 44 times for higher taxes, higher gas taxes, higher property taxes, and worst of all, higher income taxes on families earning as little as $10,000 a year. Call Jeff Merkley. Tell him to change, because higher taxes and a bad economy is wrong for Oregon families. Paid for by Republicans Who Care Individual Fund.
A message about Jeff Merkley from Barack Obama.
Oregon, you have a choice. Do you stick with the failed Washington policies that put CEOs and special interests first, or do you choose real change? That change is Jeff Merkley. Jeff will put fairness back in the system and strengthen our economy by cutting taxes for the middle class, not corporations who ship our jobs overseas. With Jeff Merkley in the U.S. Senate, we can get our country back on track.
I'm Jeff Merkley, and I approve this message.
Everything you need to start your day.
K2 News this morning.
And it's time now for tonight's closing argument. Well, tomorrow, former President Bill Clinton will join Barack Obama in Florida, the largest battleground state, in their first joint campaign appearance. So we ask you, do you think Bill Clinton is really, finally, on board with the Obama campaign, or is he just doing his duty to the Democratic Party? Tell us what you think by clicking on the Nightline page at abcnews.com, and I'll be live there in Florida tomorrow night to recap the rally. That's our report tonight, though. I'm Terry Moran. For Cynthia McFadden, Martin Bashir, and all of us at ABC News. Good night, everyone.